What are some of the health-related challenges that specifically C-level executives face? I imagine, they put in, right, 80-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks. You've probably seen it all. Let's talk about executives in the C-suite and the necessity to take care of their health.
So one of the things that's great about the process is, and we didn't even walk through yet the process. We'll get there.
Okay.
People spend 2 to 2.5 hours with our doctors. When they come in, we try to get the stuff out of the way that mandates the fasting so they can eat.
Mm-hmm.
But then the first step is an hour conversation and physical exam with the doctor. Now, your typical physical exam with the doctor is focusing on physical primarily, quick physical, and then that's it. Over here, it's a conversation about life. And people come in with lists of conversation topics, questions that they would never probably bring up, and we see fascinating.
And they never have the time to bring up with a regular doctor.
Correct. They won't give you the time. Right. Stress and anxiety is huge. And it's amazing. You have a high profile, just impressive person, and he comes in and there's a conversation with a doctor about just the levels of stress they have to deal with. No sleep, anxiety, nutrition, exercise comes up. Again, that's outside of the regular medical type stuff that's going to come up, and there's many medical. I don't want to get into the clinical stuff as much, but outside of that, there's a lot that these people deal with, and they don't have a venue to have a conversation with it. So a lot of our job in many of these cases is just peace of mind. This is an issue. This isn't an issue, and just that alone for them is phenomenal. But in cases where there are real issues, if someone's really dealing with, overwhelming stress, they're not handling it appropriately, then we provide the resources after the fact to do some follow-up. But we see a range of issues, and it's really every time we go through a process, and we do like weekly meetings with our team, and the doctors are amazed, and sometimes they've seen a lot. Dr. Nemitz, who you saw, he's seen tens of thousands of patients over the year in the old affiliated physicians model. Mm-hmm. He was seeing 2,000 patients a year. And, in this model, we're seeing much more. We get to delve into it with them. Very interesting.
So how do these challenges really, play out, especially if someone doesn't really deal with the real issues that they're facing?
There's no doubt there's an efficiency. There's definitely an efficiency impact for these people. Either they're working longer hours to accomplish because they're not, they're just not managing their time well. A lot of feedback we get after the fact and the notes and the back and forth and the correspondence with the team is that they just feel like they're in a better place. They're being more efficient. They're taking care of the things they have to, and it's that peace of mind. But I think efficiency is the biggest thing. Efficiency and performance. It definitely plays a role.
Now, let's talk about the Elitra experience. Again, I experienced it, but I just want to pose the question to you. Yeah, what can someone expect on a visit, and how tailored is each checkup?
Sure. So the experience itself is, and we call it the Elitra exam. The exam itself is anywhere from 5 to 7 hours. The base exam, base is a bad, doesn't do it justice, but the exam itself is very, very comprehensive across the board for everyone. When people come in, they typically will sit down with a lead nurse to talk through their day, what testing they're going to go through, expectations, get them changed and get them set up. First stop is always going to be blood work. We do the blood draw first. We need to do blood draw. A, they're fasting. B, the lab has to turn around that blood work very quickly because our doctors want to use it as part of the exam. We then do radiology, a suite of radiology. So X-ray is not typically done unless there's a real medical indication, but mammography for females. We do a DEXA scan, which is a bone density machine, which looks at bone density, and very importantly, it looks at the fat makeup, a good fat versus bad fat, where it's deposited. That drives a lot of the rest of the exam. We have a CT scanning machine, not necessarily medically indicated for everybody, but a phenomenal tool. We use it primarily for coronary calcium score, which is heart imaging. It basically tells us what the amount of hardened plaque is. It's a whole new level of understanding what the true cardiac risk is. Typically, you're talking about blood work. Is my cholesterol high? Is it low? Do I have family history? This adds a whole new layer, and we'll talk about some fascinating case studies that we've had just in the last 12 months with people that were seemingly healthy and some off-the-charts calcium scores. From there, we go to the doctor typically. And that's the family history review, medical history review, and the first go at the physical exam. Typically an hour. I said the exam is 5 to 7 hours. A lot of that's driven by how much time people end up with the doctor.
Right.
And we provide unlimited time with the doctor. Our doctors
Yeah,
see
great point. Great point.
two patients a day. That's all they see.
No pressure. I felt he had all the time in the world for me.
Exactly, and that's what we do. So that's about an hour. We have ultrasound at some point, so we do carotid ultrasound screen. It's a stroke screen. We have a nutritionist, dietitian on site, so there is a full evaluation and assessment on diet. Exercise physiologist. We have exercise physiologist does a full core strength assessment, agility assessment. We have cardiology on site, so we're going to do a stress test as well. Dermatology is included, and we're at about, right now we're after lunch already. When all this is done and all packaged throughout the day, every single test that's done, the results are being brought to the doctor. They're reviewing it. And they're prepping for at the 5-6 hour mark when the patient comes back around, sits with the doctor after a nice lunch. We take care of breakfast and lunch. They're there the whole day. Sits down again to review all the results line by line. Page by page, normal, abnormal, and with the actual recommendations for it all. So that's the core exam. Now, there are many instances where throughout the day we identify something that needs additional testing. So we do a lot of additional testing on site available that we can add the day of. In the radiology world, we can do more. We can do full body scans if necessary. In the blood testing world, we can add certain blood tests. We do sleep apnea testing if it comes up as part of. So there's a lot that we do. We do genetic testing. Some people want that. Family history of breast cancer. We'll do the BRCA screening. So there's a lot that we add on and tailor as the day goes on. Almost everything that we tailor can be added during the day of the exam. So we get everyone's information prior, and the team reviews it prior, but there's the opportunity during the day in real time as the doctor sees results. I want this test added. I want that test added, and we'll do it day of.
There has been a recent trend towards health and fitness. Everyone knows you grab these health bars and stay away from whatever. I don't want to start blasting some of the trends that just pick up a newspaper or magazine and you see what I'm talking about. Have you noticed that trend in your business?
So going back to, we have two business lines, that affiliated physicians world, which is a corporate health and wellness world. I think there I see it a lot. A lot of companies today, besides individuals, they want to do more in health and wellness. It's almost a fad. They want to do more with it. The big question is, what does that mean? So a lot of companies try a lot of different things: yoga, de-stress management, biometric type screenings and education. So in that world, I see it a lot. In the exam world, a little bit, in that people want to talk about it. So you talked about exercise physiology. It's had a great place within the exam in today's environment. Mm-hmm. But from the overall exam itself, it's an annual exam. I don't think it's impacted outside of that too much. But I definitely see it. I mean, in the corporate space, it's very, very big and a hot topic.
Now, before I get to something that I hope I'm not going to be putting you on the spot by talking about some real life stories, success stories about how you've, saved people's lives, if I may. And obviously, I respect that, confidentiality naturally. But just one business question, if I could, and that is, when I walked in, and we talked about it earlier in the show, the entire experience was something I did not expect. Like you said, I knew I was going for a physical. I expected to go to a doctor's office, and yet it was a hotel-like setting. How important is this to give over? Because there are many small and medium-sized business owners that listen to this show. That you have to really think through the customer experience and not just say, hey, they're coming to learn how they could live longer, and therefore it doesn't make a difference if the building looks like it was decorated 50 years ago. How important is it to think through the entire customer experience?
It's paramount. I mean, it's so important. I like giving simplicity and efficiency. People forget, and I think employees of companies or even clients, I don't like saying people are lazy. We're not lazy. We work hard. We're focused. If it's not simple for us as the end user, they're not going to utilize. They're just not going to appreciate the experience. They're not going to refer. I use an example with our flu shot world. If there's a company with 1,000 employees in Midtown Manhattan, and they have 4 floors on 230 Park or whatever the address is, If you do a flu shot program on one of the floors only, you will see 200 out of 1,000 people. If you do a flu shot program 2 hours on each of the floors, you will literally double that utilization. People aren't lazy. People are busy. People don't have the time. You need to simplify, make it efficient, make it easy. Your point is great. Yeah, they're coming to a medical space for their health. In order for them to walk away and really want to refer, talk about the experience, it has to be more than just the clinical. The clinical is great,
Right?
but the experience is so important, and that's what the base of our model is. You don't get that in today's medical world environment. It doesn't exist.
I love the honor of interviewing C-level executives and sharing their great advice and perspective on Mind Your Business. I'd love to get your feedback. Post it in the comments below and subscribe. You'll never miss an edition of Mind Your Business.